Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to go long haul on the MD-11. We are sitting in Frankfurt on the Lufthansa cargo MD-11 and we are going to fly it over towards Mumbai, which used to be a flight that Lufthansa operated regularly on their MD-11 freighters. So let's go ahead and have a look into our sim brief planning before we start with our cockpit preparation. We're going to start right over here on the paper version of the flight plan. So we are running an easy route almost straight ahead down towards Mumbai. Looking into the significant weather chart, we have pretty much nothing along the initial part of the route. Over southern Turkey we're expecting a nice jet stream, even though the core of it is located in flight level 410, so quite a bit above us. Now when we get down towards our destination, things are getting a little bit more interesting, as we have an area of isolated embedded cumulonimbus clouds around Mumbai, and that actually matches our weather forecast as well. If we have a look at the weather down here, we can see several SIGMATs published for the Mumbai FIR and for the Chennai FIR. And looking into the weather itself, Frankfurt is giving us good conditions here, showers of rain, couple of gusts, but overall good weather conditions for a runway 18 departure. And our destination, Mumbai, is giving us westerly winds at the moment at 3000 meters visibility in Broome, few clouds 1200, 28 degrees centigrade. Looking at the forecast, however, we are running into more interesting conditions. Our expected time of arrival is 0345 UTC, and we can see that until 0400 we're looking at thunderstorms in the area at 1200 meters visibility, and that is only improving slightly afterwards from 0400 onwards. So we gotta expect thunderstorm conditions at our destinations, which will be perfect to test the new weather radar that TFDI has incorporated in the MD-11. In terms of our alternate airports, things are currently not as good with thunderstorms at the moment. However, the general forecast is looking quite a bit better. On a small note over here, yes, I am aware that this forecast only goes till midnight today and not into tomorrow, but that is because I am recording this one on an afternoon instead of recording it live during the night flight, so small differences in the weather are expected. In any case, the alternate is good. The destination, however, might offer thunderstorms. For this reason, I want to take a little bit of extra fuel. So if we look into our primary OFP right now, we can see we're going Frankfurt to Mumbai, and our departure is going to be 1945 UTC. So just about when we're getting close to airport closure is when we are going to depart. And if we now stroll down a little bit into our fuel planning, then we can see that we are planned at 75 tons of takeoff fuel, so about 75.7 block fuel. Now, due to the weather conditions that we have in Mumbai at the moment, or rather that we're expecting in Mumbai at the moment, I want to take half an hour extra fuel. So we can simply look at the OFP over here. Final reserves 3101 equals 30 minutes of flight time. And in order to carry those 3000 additional kilos, we can look down here into the zero fuel weight correction plus 1000 kilos, and that gives us 205 kilos extra fuel to carry 1000 kilos more weight. In other words, to carry 3000 kilos of additional weight, we're going to take about 615 kilos extra. So if we add all of those things up, 74,953 takeoff fuel plus 650 taxi plus 3101 extra plus 615 kilos to carry those, we end up at 79.4. So that, if we round it up, 80 tons of fuel is what we are going to take for today's flight to India. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the cockpit. We are going to start today's trip on the first officer's seat, as we have to start up the aircraft from the right hand side. So flight plan is imported. If we go onto the payload, then our cargo is planned as 72,987 and our block fuel is planned as 80 tons. Okay, set that payload, here we go. And then we can go ahead and start setting up our aircraft. So the logbook is checked, the circuit breakers are all in. Looking very good. Okay, emergency equipment is checked, the weather radar system is off, fuel switch is off. The park and brake is released for now, spoilers and flaps handle are up. Landing gear lever is down, the fuel manifold and dump switches are guarded, emergency power selector off. Okay, looking good. Then we can go ahead and power up our aircraft.
Autopilot.
Alright, welcome. So let's go ahead and turn the floodlights on over here. And the panel backlights as well. Here we go, that is looking better. And I am going to turn the floodlights for the main panel on as well. Okay, wonderful. So our aircraft is powered, let's go ahead and run all the tests.
Engine 1, fire. Engine 2, fire. Engine 3, fire.
Okay, looking good. Annunciator tests.
Overspeed. Overspeed.
Okay, the lights are all working, everything works. Beautiful. Then we can turn on the IRSs. And that also carries out the cargo fire test. We don't need to turn on the APU just yet, it's 16 degrees outside and really not all that warm. All that we are going to do is to make sure that our doors are open, please. Like this. And that's all we need. Okay then, MD-11 CF6 engines, current database. Let's go ahead and initialize the IRS. Now, a little funny bug that we have in the airplane here. You can see that when I've been using the digital standby instruments last and then reload the aircraft, all of a sudden it brings back the frame of the analog instruments. Now we can easily fix that going into the options and then digital standby, disable, enable, save. And now we have the correct instruments down here. Just a little bug that I find kind of funny to have. Okay then, I am going to import the flight plan automatically into the FMC. Here we go, Frankfurt and Mumbai. The rest will be up for the captain later on, so let's continue our system checks, which we do from the FO seat in the MD-11. Luckily there isn't all that much to do in this airplane. So, hydraulic pressure test is in progress. Emergency power armed, which should carry out a self-test. But for some reason that does not happen in the airplane over here, but that's fine. I am gonna ignore that for now. Okay, so on the emergency lights, no smoking and seatbelts. Refueling is finished up here. Then nav lights and logo lights coming on. Okay, and going down the third line. I'm gonna skip the GPWS test because, well, it's maintenance stuff anyway. Fuel used reset. And then we can go down to our main panel. So, traffic, data, airport, VOR1, VOR2. And we want hectopascals, please. The same applies down here, hectopascals, please. Auto brake selector in the RTO. We'll leave the brakes off for now. And everything is set up here. We've got 1228 and 1215. Transmit on VHF1. Listen to both. And on the other end side, Squawk 2000 in TCAS into above. And that's it. Trims are centered. Wonderful. So that's the procedure on the FO side complete. Now we can move on to the captain's side. And likewise over here we want our EFIS setup with the traffic, data, airports and hectopascals. Then we can go down into the FMS for our setup. So, MD-11 CF6 engines. Database is current. The route has been imported already. The alternate comes now. And we are Lufthansa Cargo. Now let's find that flight number real quick. 8472. Cruise levels, we'll start in 310, later on climb to 330, and finally climb to 350. Like that. Cost index 30. And then, departing Frankfurt off runway 18 via the Cindy 6 Sierra departure. Here we go, insert that. And then we can move on to our destination, where we are going to enter the arrival. I do suspect it's going to be runway 27 in use today. It's a bit of a pity that the MD-11 doesn't have this feature like the Airbus, where you can just jump to the aft. Okay, so arrivals. We're going to start with the ILS Zulu approach for runway 27. And our routing is going to be via the Pocon 2 Alpha arrival. Here we go, Pocon 2 Alpha, and we're arriving from Xolu. Okay, insert that. So, let's have a quick look at our SID to make sure that everything is correct. View departure airport charts, please. Looking for the SID charts, and now we're looking for the RNAV charts for the Cindy 6 Sierra. Here it is. Okay, contact long radar when advised by the tower. Radar is required, and apart from that, nothing interesting. Speed 250 below 100 RS by ATC. Not applicable within airspace Charlie. Okay, so for the SIDs, Delta Fox 158, max 220 above 800 feet. And we've got Delta Fox 158, 800 feet. Then we continue Delta Fox 159er above 2,500 feet. And Delta Fox 170 above 4,600, Umtix and Cindy. And that's exactly what we have. Initial climb clearance, 4,000 feet. Here we go. Okay then, let's go for the secondary. That is going to be the engine out flight plan here. So Frankfurt to Frankfurt. And the alternate for that one is going to become Stuttgart. So, secondary flight plan, Frankfurt. From runway 18, well, looks like for some reason that automatically brings up the standard flight plan. Yeah, look at that, it brings you back into the active. That's not what it's supposed to do. So let's just do it this way then. Frankfurt /176 /25 miles. Okay, I'll just include that. Including a holding. 176 right hand turn, looking good. Okay. And that's all I'm gonna insert in here. Then let's return to our flight plan. So Delta Fox 158 should have a maximum 220 restriction. Suppose that's gonna be minus 220? No? 220 minus? Also no? Okay, then just 220. Like so. Okay, good enough. So, last but not least, we need to insert our step climbs. The MD-11 has a little bit of a special step climb logic here. By inserting several cruise levels, the plane is capable of doing the step climbs automatically, and that's a feature of the real aircraft. So, normally when you only insert the cruise levels, it would simply give you an optimum step climb point and commence the step climb there. However, since the optimum function isn't really working in the TFDI yet, we can still insert those step climbs manually. So the first one, according to the flight plan, happens at waypoint Tagri. So we'll just scroll down over here and try to find Tagri. Here it is. Now we enter /S330. And here we go, the flight plan, oh sorry, the step climb is entered. We can do the same with flight level 350, and that's at MyVac. That's a little bit further down the route, somewhere over Iran, if I'm not mistaken. MyVac /S350. Insert, and now we also have the step climb in here. Alright, we're going to leave it at that. Next is going to be anything that includes a load sheet, and we don't have a load sheet available just yet. Okay, so with all that good stuff entered, let's go into our ACARS pre-flight. And I want a weather request, please. So, Echo Delta Delta Foxtrot. And send. Okay, here is our weather. So, 190 at 16, showers in the vicinity, scattered 1800, few towering cumulus 17 degrees 1006, recent showers of rain and tempo gusty showers. Okay, well, for us, the important thing here is 1006, and that is automatically synchronized to the other displays as well. Beautiful. Okay. Let's check anything that is marked down here. They are marked because of these messages, but all of that is expected at the moment, yeah. Okay. Beautiful. So, with that, we are pretty much done. Let's go ahead and do our departure briefing, please. Well, your turn. Okay, Frankfurt runway 18 full length, Cindy 6 Sierra departure, climbing 4,000 feet, MSA 4,300, and we have half an hour of extra fuel. Absolutely. Nothing special on the taxi. Stop margin for ejected takeoff is not going to be very much. Engine outsits straight at 25 miles, and we can come back to Frankfurt. 25 center is in use. If we come back, we are going to be overweight, so if there is no time available, or if there is no significant emergency, or rather if there is a significant emergency, we just come back straight away. And if there is time available, then we'll have to make a decision whether we are going to dump fuel or if we are going to make an overweight landing. I don't have anything special or non-standard on this one. Do you have any threats? No? Beautiful. Okay, so that is our briefing complete. By now they should have been done loading up the aircraft, so let's go ahead and close up. For some reason the bulb doesn't seem to want to operate. Yes, no, maybe? Okay, I tell you what, first of all we are going to start up the APU. Nope, it does not operate. Okay, I tell you what, let's set the brakes over here. There's nothing connected down there. I really don't see a reason why the bulk cargo door wouldn't work. Maybe it needs hydraulic pressure. Well, if that is true... No, not you. Oh, that's a bad click spot. Let's turn on the auxiliary hydraulic pump. Yep, now it's operating. So it just needed hydraulic pressure to be able to move that door. Alright, APU is running at 50%. Let's have a look at the electricals. And the APU generator should be available by now. Okay, external power disconnect. And then we can remove the rest as well. GPU gone, chocks gone. Okay, let's get GSX to prepare the position for pushback and departure. Handling by Frankfurt Airport. Okay, so by now we should have our load sheet as well. So let's go on with that. Block fuel is 80 tons. The zero fuel weight is 185.7. Okay, CG's 18.4 and 27.9. Okay, maximum landing weight 218.4. Yeah, it warns us of that because it seems to think that we have much more fuel than we actually do. Like, look at that, extra fuel 75.4. Well, that is definitely not true. We just keep it at that, shall we? Okay then, takeoff data calculation. So, performance, Frankfurt, runway 18, 4,000 meters, and we'll import the weather. Interestingly enough, I cannot select whether the runway is dry or wet. You would think that would make a difference, huh? Okay, so gross weight 265.7. So 265,700. Flex takeoff, no anti-ice, optimum flaps, packs on. Okay, calculate. Flaps 24.1. Well, let's be a little bit more specific. Let's take a 24 exactly. I'm really not sure if the flaps should give us a decimal setting. But this is looking good to me. So 163, 169, 177. And, well, we just need a wet runway. Okay, anyway. 42 degrees flex temperature. Packs on. The slope and wind will take 0 on each side. 16 degrees centigrade. Okay, climb thrust and acceleration we'll do 1400 each. Alright, flap setting 24. Check and confirm V-speeds. So let's go for it. 163, 169, 177. Well, that V1 is incorrect there. 163, 169, 177. That looks okay. Alright, thrust limits. Looks all good. We can go for the 20% derate for the climb. Which, interestingly enough... Okay, here we go. So, climb 2 derate. Wait a moment. You remain on takeoff, my friend. You remain on takeoff. Okay. 105.7. Does that look correct for us? Doesn't say. Well, yeah. It will be alright. Okay. We can just go for automatic here. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, here we go. You go off again. And then let's go ahead and do the cockpit checklist, please. Okay, gear pins removed, pitot static checked, cabin signs on, FCP set, speed band. So we've got taxi 0 and the speeds 163, 169, 177. Altimeters, QNH 1006, reading 350. Fuel. $80 tons. Okay, system display status checked, system modes, auto, takeoff data inserted, auto brake, takeoff config warning,
Stabilizer.
checked, and flap takeoff selector. I keep forgetting that one. Okay, 24. Cockpit checklist complete. Alright, looks good to me. We should be ready to go any moment. So, last time we used ignition A, let's go for B then. Beacon on. APU power is running. APU air on. Before start, checklist please. Okay, cabin secured, mobiles off, engine ignition, B. Beacon on, system modes, auto, park and brake, set, before start checklist complete. Okay, ground from flight deck. Go ahead. So, please confirm all doors and hatches closed, ground equipment removed, and bypass pin is installed. All confirmed. Roger, you're clear to push, park and brake set. Release brakes. Brakes released. Roger, brakes released, start on the pushback, stand by for engine start. Roger. Okay, might as well just arm all of those and set the runway heading. Here we go, 176, 4000. Looking awesome. Okay. So, we are going, finally. Looks like it stopped raining as well. Beautiful. Okay, flight at ground, you're clear to start engines. Roger, starting in sequence 312, and we're starting engine 3 now. Engine 3 start. N2. N1. Oil pressure. EGT. The important thing on the engine start in the MD-11 is that you have to monitor for EGT. If you have no EGT by the time that 25 seconds have passed since you introduced fuel, you need to abort the engine start. Okay, we have a good start on 3, starting 1. Engine 1 start. Prepare the timer for the next round. N2. N1. Oil pressure. Okay, pushback complete, set brakes. Brake set. EGT. I love it when things are going smoothly. Not that they always do, but sometimes you're lucky. Right, we have a good start on 1, starting 2. Clear 2. N2. N1. Oil pressure. So, looks like engine 2 is starting fine, 15%. EGT. Ground flight, we have 3 good starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the sign on the right, please, with a pin, and have a wonderful day. Bye now. Okay, 3 good starts. Then let's wait for the clear signal, if we get that anywhere. There he is. And that's the pin scene. After start checklist, APU, off, anti-ice, off, system modes, auto, after start checklist complete. Okay, taxi is fairly easy. Straight ahead, November 13, right into November, and then all the way to the runway 18. Okay, clear right side, clear left side. Let's go. So, now comes the big question, can we get the airplane around the turn properly? On our last flight, we somewhat figured that if you go very slow and enter the turn then, thereafter the tiller works just fine, so let's give that a try. Let's do something like 3 knots here when entering the turn. Obviously that is much too slow for what you would do in the real world. In the real world I wouldn't enter a turn below 5 knots, because I would be afraid that the airplane simply comes to stop. But it looks like in the simulation this works just fine. Okay, let's add some power then to get the airplane moving properly. And as you can see, I have a full tiller steering available. So that seems to be the trick. You must enter the turn at a speed of 3 knots or less in order for the steering to work properly. Not exactly how I would expect things to go, but, well, if it works, I'm not going to complain. Okay, from here it's more or less straight ahead for the entire time. Let's just go to idle thrust for now, due to the upcoming turn. Clear left side, clear right side. And if you look at this, all of a sudden the tiller also works fine if I'm entering a turn at a higher speed. So it really seems like you need to apply tiller for a turn once at a speed at 3 knots or less, and thereafter it seems to work just fine for the rest as well. Well, if that's the trick, then hey, we can adapt to that until we get an official fix, right? At least that's my opinion here. Okay, well, we're clear of any obstacles. Flaps 24. Flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. And we know the rudder works. Here's just a quick check, but since it's tied to the tiller, I don't want to overdo it right now. Okay, so trim. We should have 8.5 units. Here we go. Okay, let's confirm the departure briefing. It's a left sea takeoff on runway 18, flaps 24, takeoff speeds 163, 169, 177. Sit straight out left-hand turn, we gotta abide those altitude restrictions, so I might just about slow our acceleration down a little bit in order to gain some additional altitude to make our sit constraints. Emergency straight ahead for 25 miles, climbing for, no, 5,000, the MSA is 4,300. Okay, takeoff checklist. Flight controls, checked, flaps, 24, spoilers, armed, trims, 8.5, 0 and 0. EAD, checked, takeoff checklist complete. Okay, ready to go? Here we go, that's what we wanted. Okay, down to 10 knots, weather radar coming on. Okay, a little bit of weather in our departure sector, but that is all just green and yellow, that is fine. Okay, ready? Takeoff. Autoflight. Thrust set. 80 knots, checked. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. That flight director guidance here seems a little bit off. Well, we'll be flying manually for a little while anyway. Flaps retract. Speed checked. Flap 0. So, 2,500 restriction at the next waypoint. We'll just pull it up manually a little bit here to make sure that we make that restriction. Okay, we have 2,500, then we can continue accelerating.
Stabilizer motion. Stabilizer motion.
Okay. So, continue the climb, flight level 130. Slats retract. Speed checked. So, beautiful clean speed here, 276 knots. That's an MD-11, my friends. Okay, looking excellent. So, there is no after takeoff checklist. The airplane would give us a warning for pretty much anything, just like Airbus does. Okay, 4,600 at Delta Fox 170, but that is not going to be a problem. Set standard. Standard cross-checked, passing flight level 55. Now. Checked. Okay, looking excellent. Well done. Autopilot. I just love it when the airplane does no movement at all when the autopilot is engaged. It just shows you you've flown it accurately. I like that. I like that very much. That's exactly what it should be like. Right, resetting the timer. The MD-11 has an automatic one that runs on the background, and you will see that come on in a few moments after it's reset the zeros over here. When it turns blue, you know it's the automatic timer. When it's white, it's the manual one. That level of arrow seems a little optimistic though. I don't think we're gonna make the next 5,000 feet in just 1 mile. Okay. So, passing 8,500 already. Temperatures are good, we don't need anti-ice yet, and looking outside we can actually see the stars already. And if you can see the stars, you know that is a sure sign that you have no further weather ahead of you along your flight path usually. Right then, let's take a small shortcut direct to Nombo. So, Nombo direct to insert. A little bit more weather along here, but nothing of that should be relevant for our flight. Passing 10,000, first of all, lights on. Then lights off. And last but not least, there shouldn't be any weather along the flight path anymore, seatbelts auto. Even though we are not carrying any passengers today anyway. No supernumeraries, no nothing. So it's just gonna be fairly easy, straightforward. The route looks very good as well. I have a feeling once we're getting into the upper airspace, we are going to get some better directs as well. Talk about upper airspace, let's go up to flight level 250 now, which is around about the boundary. And at some point later on we might get a direct to Isega over here once we are in the upper airspace. Our first step climb is waiting for us over here at Tagri in about 500 nautical miles. Looking down into the FMS optimum is 290 at the moment, but the FMS optimum is going to be influenced by the fact that I did not bother to manually enter the entire winds, and the airplane does not have an automatic wind uplink simulated. So for that reason, the optimum we're going to get down here might be a little bit inaccurate. If SimBrief tells me that flight level 310 is my first optimum altitude, then I am going to climb just up there. So the automatic step climb in the MD-11 works rather easily, provided that the cruise levels are entered over here. It is going to climb automatically when it reaches the bottom of climb waypoint over there, and if the FCP altitude is set to the higher level already. So if you are like really lazy, what you're going to do is as follows. You enter all the levels that SimBrief predicts you to use over here on the flight plan init page. Then on the flight plan page you're going to insert all those step climb points like we did over here, and once that is done, basically all you got to do is to set your FCP altitude to the final flight level that you plan to use for the flight, 350 in our case. And you can see that on the PFD it still takes flight level 310, which is the first cruising altitude we've entered on the FMS. Now, once we reach the step point that we've entered here at Tagri, the aircraft is automatically going to initiate the step climb to the next higher level, 330 in our case. And that is basically how the step climb works on the MD-11. Fairly easy, isn't it? Alright then. So for now, we can sit back and relax. It is going to be a smooth night flight. And I tend to say that once things start to get interesting again...
Stabilizer motion.
Yes, thank you very much. Once things start to get interesting again, I will give you a call. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. morning everyone, I do hope that you have enjoyed your night aboard our MD-11, and as we are now approaching our top of descent into Mumbai, let's go ahead and start with a bit of a setup here. We already have the first weather radar return along our route just prior towards Exolu, so let's first of all go ahead and grab the latest weather. So, weather, and we're looking for Victor Alpha Bravo Bravo, and let's also go ahead and get our alternates, Victor Alpha Alpha Hotel. Alright, send that out, let's see what we are going to get. New message, and that is our alternate, and new message, here we go. Mumbai, so 010 at 3, 2,500 meters visibility in light thunderstorms. Couple of clouds, 26 degrees, QNH 1005, temporary 1,500 meters visibility in thunderstorms and rain. Well, the first thing we got to do then is to decide which runway we are going to land on. And the easiest way, in my opinion, to do that is using Flight Radar 24. So let's go ahead and give it a look. So up here's Flight Radar for you, and we are going to take a look at the airport down here. So Mumbai Airport, show on map, and here we go. They are landing on runway 27 by the looks of it. Okay, so runway 27 it is for us. Well then, let's go ahead and find the appropriate charts for us. Dispatch, view arrival airport charts. Going to start with the stars down here. Just seems to take a little while here. These are still the Frankfurt stars. So let's give it a small moment to actually find those charts for us. Well, in the meantime, as we're waiting for that, we can... Well, here we go. Okay, that's what I call timing. Okay, we can have a look at the charts directly now. So we're starting out at Pokon. Well, at Exolu for the Pokon 2 Alpha arrival. Now, what do we have then? Exolu, Pokon, Mike Bravo 379, 230 knots below level 120, and Pokon itself from Exolu is above level 120 at 250 knots. Well, that 250 knots is probably a little bit slow for my taste. I guess I'm gonna remove that from our plan. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and start checking. So, we start from Exolu towards Pokon, and that's above 12,000, 250 knots, and as mentioned, I am going to remove that 250 knot restriction here. Okay, so Pokon 12,000 looks good, and then on via Mike Bravo 379 are below 12,000 and at 230 knots. That looks roundabout alright to me. Alright, down the arrival. Next up, we have Emros, 230 knots at flight level 110, and thereafter via Olgos, 210 knots, right-hand turn heading 180 onto the final approach, and that is what we have in here. So from there we are going to join the ILS approach to runway 27, and I did program the ILS Zulu 27. We don't need that initial approach chart, we're not gonna fly anything fancy over here. Okay then, final approach, starting out at the Fox India point in 2,900 feet, 3-degree glide path, check altitude at 5 DME is 1610. So in the FMS we've got the center fix, that's 10 miles out, ice detected. Oh yeah, maybe. Engine anti-ice on. Here we go, okay, so then we have the final fix, 2,900 feet down to the runway, and the missed approach goes straight ahead to 700, then climbing turn left on heading 230 to 2,600, then turn left to join the VOR holding at 3,800 or as directed. Okay, so we have 700, thereafter 2,600, and then a left-hand turn to the VOR 3,800. Okay, that looks believable. So for our progress page, there's nothing interesting in here. Estimated fuel about 20.1. That's quite a bit of fuel. But then again, let's have a look at what we are supposed to have. So if we look at the flight plan for one more time here. Alternate fuel 6.4, final reserve 3.1, so that makes it 9.5 for our minimum diversion fuel. Now we use 3 tons per 30 minutes, 9.5 is the minimum. Arriving at 20 tons, that means we have roughly 10 tons extra, that's about an hour and a half. Well, that is more than I intended to have, but then again, I'm not going to complain having more fuel. Especially in weather conditions like these, I'd much rather have more than less. Okay. So, we can tune triple Bravo VOR over here, so that's 116.6. Let's just see if we can tune it by the ident as well. Yes, we can, 16.6. Okay, for our performance, let's go onto the descent page. 330 knots or Mach 0.77 looks good. Descent forecast, let's go ahead and enter something useful over there. And I am just going to take that off the flight plan, which I have pulled onto my iPad as well, just in case you're wondering where that data comes from. So, we're going to start in flight level 310. And down there we are supposed to have a wind of 063 at 13. Then we have flight level 200. The wind over there is 069 at 17. Flight level 150, 046 at 17. And finally flight level 100. 047 at 9. Okay, temperature 26 Celsius. Format error. Just 26 then? Okay, just 26. Happy with that, and insert. Okay, return to performance mode, and all that stuff is looking good. Transition 4000 is correct. Okay, on the takeoff and approach page, flaps 35, the approach 162. Well, if we make that flaps 50, we're a little bit slower. That may be the better idea today. The runway isn't endlessly long, is it? Airport, okay, 3,500 meters. But with quite a displaced threshold over here. Overall, not too worried about that runway. It's more than long enough. Let's see. Arrival, runway 32, 2,673 meters available. Well, we are going to do the performance calculation in a few moments anyway. Why not do it right now? Okay, wet runway. You can gather the weather information, please. That looks roundabout correct. Okay, 20 tons landing fuel, that means we arrive with, let's make that 206 tons. Okay, auto brake low, reverses all flaps 50, calculate. And we need 2,360 meters. So as you can see, it's not all that much runway available. If we use flaps 30, 2,500-ish. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna make it flaps 35, because the airplane flies a little bit nicer with that. Go around, we can keep all that stuff in. Okay, so finally on the fixed page, Mumbai Airport. And can we draw a 25-mile ring? Not really, yeah? Okay, it doesn't matter though. We'll just keep it like that. Okay, tiny bit of weather over here. Even though that's completely irrelevant for our flight path. That's why it keeps saying that the Microsoft radar is not very good. In any case, no ice detected, engine anti-ice off. Here we go. Okay. So, I'd say that is the majority of our stuff completed. I do suppose then we are going to go for the approach briefing, please. So, it's your turn. Okay. So, MSA up to 3,800 feet on the arrival. Pokon to Alpha arrival for an ILS Zulu approach runway 27 that features a minimum of Hey, tell me as I'm looking at it. I prepared the Yankee, didn't I? Well, let's check what we have in the box one more time, just to be on the safe side here. Yep, Zulu. I looked at the Yankee chart. Interestingly enough, it looked like the missed approach was fitting. Well, good thing that we see it. That's why we do these briefings. So the approach itself starts in 2.9, that's the same thing. 3 degrees is the same, minimum's 230. Let's go ahead and dial those in. So, Baro 230 and the same over here as well. Baro 230. Okay, looking good. And the missed approach then straight out to 700, climbing to the left, heading 230 to 2600, then to VOI at 3800. Yeah, that is exactly the same. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. We're gonna take it. Okay, so that's the missed approach discussed as well. Extra fuel, an hour and a half. So, plenty of extra today. Okay, so we're about to reach our top of descent. Let's go ahead and dial that altitude down. Here we go, 12,000 is going to be our first restriction, or flight level 120, I should say. Okay, then, guidance for the approach is going to be flight director manual thrust, landing flaps 35, which is selected, okay. So landing flaps 35, stop margin about 500 meters-ish, probably a little bit less even. Well, 150 meters only, so gotta make sure that we put that airplane down right on the aiming point. Maximum reverse and auto brakes minimum. Here we go. Select it. And starting the descent right now. Okay, we'll exit the runway to the right, and I don't see any hotspots. Have anything special on non-standard today? No? Beautiful. Okay. So, that good stuff is discussed. Then do you have any questions on the briefing? No. Wonderful. So, why are we not descending? Interesting. I tell you what, direct to Pokon. Let's see if we can somehow force it to recognize the descent. Now it starts. No. Okay, there's something wrong here. VNAV should absolutely descend. Well, let's do it manually. Let's go to idle. So, that's idle clamp is basically open descent. Not sure why VNAV didn't start to descend on its own. It most certainly should. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. And we'll just do that stuff ourselves. So, as a gross calculation, we gotta reach 12,000 over here. The level of symbol tells me we'll reach it exactly there, but we couldn't really trust the top of climb symbol, so I'm not completely convinced by the top of descent symbol there either. Anyway, quick manual calculation tells me we gotta lose about 20,000 feet. We need 60 miles for that, so this is probably a little bit fast, my friend. What are we doing over ground? Well, maybe 2,500 feet a minute, and we should be perfectly fine. Okay, vertical speed towards 12,000, please. Strange, VNAV worked fine on the last flight, but on this one it seemed to have problems. Maybe because I edited the speed constraint at Pokon? Maybe it didn't like that? Not sure.
Stabilizer motion.
Oh, thank you for that. Just don't make it too loud, please. I like you too, Betty. Okay, anyway, we are now descending. Interestingly enough, the level of symbol just remained exactly here. Even though I changed the vertical speed by over 2,000 feet a minute, it stayed unchanged. Well, that tells me that this thing is unreliable. Okay, so be it. That is nothing really new to us, is it? Likewise, if we have a look at the weather radar, you can see with the tilt at 0, this should basically be the weather at our altitude. Well, no. That's what I mean when I keep saying that the Asobo weather radar is useless. Because it doesn't give me any operationally relevant information. I don't know whether this weather over here is significant for my flight path, or if it's completely irrelevant because it is down at 2,000 feet altitude. So with the tilt not working, the rest is nice visuals, but I might as well just paint a picture on it then. And that's it, you know? Looks nice, but is completely irrelevant for your flight. Okay, so a little mental calculation here. We gotta lose 12,000 feet. That means 36 nautical miles. Plus the speed reduction towards 230 knots, which is gonna take about another 10 miles or so. So we're looking at 42 nautical miles. We're actually a little bit low on profile right now then. Let's do 2,000 feet a minute. And that'll probably have to do. Alright then, overflying Pokon. Let's bring up the arrival chart. We really need a clipboard here. I hope they're gonna add that soon. We really do. Also, if we had the moving map, that'd be nice as well. But well, I'm asking too much, I suppose. Probably asking for too much. Now this is going to be interesting. In case we're actually right down in the weather over here, that actually includes a little bit of red, so definitely nothing we want to fly through. But if we go down to 12,000 over here and then to 11,000 over here, we're going to fly right through this. I'll tell you what, once we're past this, we're going to make a left-hand turn here in order to avoid that weather cell. But nonetheless, we don't know if we would actually have to do that. Because we just don't know where the weather is. It might just be low-level stuff at a couple feet above the ground. Now, we don't have any air traffic control online at the moment, so it's not really a problem. But imagine if we had ATC now, if we were flying in a busy VATSIM event. What should we do? Just fly straight through the weather? Potentially tearing our wings off? Or ask for the avoidance heading? Potentially screwing up air traffic control. All of that only because we do not have a functioning weather radar. And that becomes more relevant when you fly in areas like this. India, round about the middle of Africa, South America, the Caribbean. Those are all areas, Asia of course, where you do need that weather radar just because they have so much weather over there. Okay, we do get a VNAV path here, even though I have a feeling that that's not really going to be relevant to us. Okay, tell you what, we are definitely clear of any weather over here right now, so let's go ahead and make it heading 105. Okay, heading. And for the FMS, direct to Emros, I suppose. Okay. That way we should certainly avoid that weather cell down here, which is all that we can ask for at the moment. Okay then, let's go down towards 11,000, which is the next altitude constraint that we have over here. Okay. So, that heading seems rather good. We're going right in between those two build-ups over here and over here. And we see India down here. That's our shoreline. Temperature plus 25, so we don't have to worry about flying into the clouds. Certainly no icing suspected there. Well then, let's do 1,000 feet a minute over here. But 11,000 feet restriction here is just, well... Okay, going directly beam the weather. And by the looks of it, I'd say it is about in 8,000 or 9,000 feet or something. So this is probably relevant for our flight path then. Looking over here, a couple of green returns, that is fine. The same all over the approach. But it looks like that cell might just about approach the airport. If you look at the weather, or at the wind over here, it's moving somewhere into this direction. So we might just find this weather cell on our final approach. We'll have to see about it. Let's see if we can grab a weather update. At 2,500 meters, visibility in light thunderstorms and rain. Few clouds 1,000, scattered 18,000, 27 degrees 1005, temporary 1,500 meters thunderstorm. Well, the wind is a little bit more in our favor now, but that tempo weather here, that's probably this weather cell going through. Well, we can live with that. Things could be worse. Did I just say things could be worse than 1,500 meters visibility and thunderstorms? Well, you get where we are going with that, huh? Might be a good thing, after all, that we left our landing flaps on 35. With the flaps at 50, the plane has so much drag that it can really be hard to maintain the approach speed properly if you have some strong gusts. Now these weather conditions might certainly give us some wind shear on the approach, especially when the weather cell just about moves through as we make our final approach, so that is something to take into consideration. If we do encounter wind shear, firewall the thrust levers and rotate up to 15 degrees pitch. Thereafter, we are going to pitch as needed to maintain the airplane just outside the stick shaker as we are climbing up. Don't change the configuration until we're out of wind shear. And only once we're out, we gotta check where our airspeed is. We might have to check, or we might have to change our flap setting rather rapidly then, but we'll see about it. Okay, so I do think that that's mostly it. So, overall, the weather conditions are not too bad to the north. We can definitely see that. Only seems to be right over the airport at the moment. Well, we can live with that. Okay, I tell you what, let's go ahead and descend a little bit quicker here. Give me open descent. We'll go into a radar vector. So, ILS Zulu 27, highest terrain chart 1605, MSA 3800. So let's go down to 4000. Set QNH. QNH 1005 cross-checked, passing 12,400 now. Okay, and you go to idle, my friend. We want to go down. So, direct to center fix, and you can do that with an inbound course of 270. So, that's an extended center line down there. So, you should start your speed reduction any moment now, my friend. Approaching 10,000. Will you? Right at 10,000. I wonder if the actual airplane does it like that. Probably not. And that direct here looks a bit strange as well. Look how it gave me the direct, but then it reinserted the entire arrival, or at least parts of it, before then going back to a discontinuity. Doesn't make that much sense if you ask me. Let's try the following then. Let's go direct to the center fix, like that. Now we'll try that one more time. Yeah, this is probably better. Okay, we are receiving India Sierra Charlie Zulu, and that's confirmed. Approach checklist, system modes, auto, altimeters, QNH 1005. Approach checklist complete. So, speed is coming back nicely now. 10 miles from the center fix, that is okay. And on the approach chart they say radar vectoring may be provided within 12 miles at 2,600 feet provided interception of localizer takes place at 10 miles or more. From touchdown, an angle of interception with localizer shall be 30 degrees or less. Okay, so vectors down to 2,600 can be expected in this sector as well. Well, we're gonna do 4,000 at first, and then later on we can still make it easy. Okay, something I forgot once again is the dial of flap selector to 15. Here we go. Weather is looking rather good over here. Really seems to be just the airport. Couple of returns over there, 20 miles out. Well, those are not going to be a problem. Okay, so turn right heading 180. That's just green stuff over here on the radar. That is not going to be a problem. Interestingly enough, that distance here is completely wrong. I'll tell you what, I prefer a good distance over the center line, so direct to center fix, 15 miles, looking good. Okay, let's take a little bit further right, heading to 20. This might become a little bit bumpy right now. Well, our seatbelts are on anyway. You can tell I'm not a cargo pilot, but you can clearly tell I'm a passenger pilot. First thing I look at is the seatbelt sign. Okay, happens. Doesn't matter. So, speed 232. Yeah, that's alright. Just no slower for now, please. 23 miles out. 5,500 feet. Speed is good. Slight tailwind component here, 5 knots. That will not be much of a problem. And the weather radar tells me the majority of the weather is to the north of the field. A little bit over here as well, but the missed approach seems to be mostly clear. Okay. By the way, needless to mention that it wouldn't be that pixelated in the real world. That's probably just the Asobo API. 1000 to go. Okay, within 12 miles we can expect radar vectors further down. Nothing on the terrain display. That's good. Well, tell me nothing on the display, huh? There's really nothing on there. Interesting. On our side? Neither. Well, not exactly what I'd call trustworthy. But this does look quite amazing. Well, now we know why we were not supposed to descend any further. Okay then, right and turn, heading 240, cleared ILS. Approach armed. 16 miles to go, I think we can start our speed reduction here. Slats extend. Speed check. Glide slope alive. And flaps 15. Speed checked. Alright, now the FMS speed target has reduced. Good. Runway heading 270 set. Okay, so a bit of weather over there, some over here. But this seems to have moved aft of the airport. A little bit over here. Well, the missed approach area should be clear. I think it should be fine. Okay, go around altitude 3800 set. Still nothing on the terrain display, that surprises me. I mean, there's most definitely some terrain down here. But nothing. That doesn't make sense. That terrain has to be within 2,000 feet of our aircraft altitude. Even for a system that does not have a peaks mode fitted, I'm fairly sure we should see something there. But nothing. Okay, flaps 28. Speed checked. Flaps 28. Okay, give me 170 knots, please.
Stabilizer motion.
Yeah, you said that already. You said that already. Okay.
2,500.
Yep. Still nothing on the radar. Or on the terrain. Not even behind us. Well, to be fair, the display should only be in front of us on the MD-11, but still. Okay, the missed approach area is clear. The weather is already past the airport. Good. Well then. Gear down. Flaps 35.
Landing gear.
Yeah, come on, here it is. Okay, landing checklist. Landing gear down 4 green. Auto brake. Minimum. Spoilers armed. Flaps 35. EAD checked. Landing checklist complete.
Stabilizer motion.
Yeah. Okay then.
Autopilot.
All manual. So, at worst we have 1,500 meters visibility, otherwise 2,500. So we will probably see the runway,
1,000.
yeah, in half a minute or so. Or at least the approach lights. Okay, approach lights in sight, over there.
500. 400. 300. Approaching minimum.
Checked.
200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
It touched down right at 10. Not supposed to be like that. Okay, spoilers, reverse green. Manual brakes. Auto brake disarm. Okay, and that's our exit. So vacating to the right, and then immediately to the right again. I'm not going to do any household until we are fully clear of the runway. That includes getting onto that taxiway here. So let's see how the ground steering is going to work this time. We're at 10 knots. And it works. Really interesting. Sometimes the plane shows strange behavior. Okay, runway vacated. Come on, give me that taxi chart, please. Here we go. So, straight ahead, and then crossing, and then parking up here at the cargo stands. Okay, beautiful. So, welcome to Mumbai. And ground spoilers are retracted. Flaps going up. Weather radar off. Transponder into altitude off. Auto brakes off. Ooh, don't turn to the left, please. Keep going. Okay, the lights are set. And that's all we need for now. Good. Okay, gross weight 205. We have our cooling time. Let's shut down engine number 2. So, still going straight, and then... what do we have here? Uniform. So we are here, so we'll take the next to the left onto Whiskey 4. Okay, clear left side. And clear right side. So, clear to cross runway 1432, clear right side, and clear left side. Strobe light going on. So, for the parking, it's gonna be on Golf 2 as far as I can see. So, all of them are suitable. Okay, so Golf 2 it is. Follow me, no thanks. Handling by. Whatever. Any one of them. Vacating the runway. Strobe light going back off. So, 7 hours and 41 flight time. Not too bad. So, gate is one of the first ones then, the second to be precise. Golf 2 down here, we are currently coming up here. So, second gate to the left. So, here we go. Lights off. So, making those turns onto the gate is always rather hard, but the way I do it is I just imagine in my head where the turning point is, and I try to place that one onto the center line. And that seems to work rather well. Okay. And here we are. So, parking brake set, please connect the external power. Well, it does say APU power on, but... So, services, ground power unit, here we go. On, and shut down. Okay. So, anti-ice is off, engines are off, seatbelts off, exterior lights are set, fuel control panel set, emergency power off, and parking brake is set. Okay. IRS is going off, and then we can do the parking checklist, please. Exterior lights set, anti-ice off, step trim. Of course I forgot about that one. Mind your ears, it's gonna get loud. Huh, it managed without saying anything. Okay. So, step trim 3 unit set, system display status is checked. System modes, auto, spoilers retracted, flap slats up and retracted, fuel switches off, parking brake set, weather radar off. So, ATC transponder, standby and 2000, APU air off, parking checklist complete. And the only reason I'm leaving the APU air off at 27 degrees and a moisture level like this is because I'm about to run off the aircraft and go into a nice and climatized hotel. Alright everyone, I do hope that you liked this one with the MD-11 one more time. Typical Lufthansa cargo route, let me know if you want to see more of those. In any case, I would like to say thank you very much for flying along, hope that you have enjoyed this one. Leave your feedback in the comments below, as always be sure to like, comment and subscribe as it does really help out the channel. And if you really love what I'm doing over here, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.